everyone. How's it going? Day one, high energy, right? Everyone can see the keynote? Yeah? Good stuff? Right on. Okay, hi. So my name is Mike Geig. I'm an evangelist with Unity Technologies, and we're going to be talking about monetizing our games with Unity Ads. So you may have heard Unity talk a lot about enabling success, right? Democratizing game development, solving hard problems, enabling success. What we're really here to talk about is that means let's make some money, right? So let's make our stuff successful. Let's turn this into something we can actually live off of. Dollar bills, y'all. So today, I want to talk about the Ads SDK and how we can add very simply into our games these interstitial ads, rewarded ads, these banner ads, which is relatively new. I don't know if anyone's seen that before. Real quick, show of hands. Who here has used Unity Ads in a project? A couple folks. Did you use banners? Did banners exist back when you used it? So yeah, fantastic. So we'll see that too. But that's not all of the monetization options. I actually only get like 20 minutes, so I had to pick which ones I was going to cover. Other things you can check out that are all part of our monetization that are awesome are these in-app purchases, otherwise known as IAP. This new thing called IAP promo, which is where you can, instead of showing an ad, show a promotion to your own in-app purchasing store, or these things called personalized placements, where it'll make machine-learned decisions about your players to just say, okay, are they ready to maybe see an IAP promo versus an ad? What are they more likely to be engaged by and stuff like that, which is also really, really cool. So I'm not a big fan of PowerPoint, so let's just get right into the editor. So here I have a project in Unity that we're going to be using to show this off. Not a whole lot to see just yet. And I'm going to use the Ads SDK 3.2. Now 3.3 is actually coming very soon, and then we've got some other cool stuff coming, but I'm going to add 3.2. Now, if you've looked at ads before, you might be familiar with this services window. We're not going to use that services window's ads right now. It's actually an older SDK there. Instead, there's a few places I can get the Ads SDK. I could go to the asset store and search monetization and download the SDK like that. However, something new that we have is if I go up to Window and then this package manager, we now have ads available here. And my zoom's not working. Let me get my zoom to work here. There we go. We now have advertisement as a package that we can just click on here and then install. Where they move the install, it's up here now. And I can click on documentation and stuff like that. But that's now just the easy way to get advertisements into your project. You can see when there's updates, and you can just click update and stuff like that. No more needing to go find special packages or go to the asset store or anything like that. Now, once I have the advertisement package in here, all I really need to do now is I need to hook this up to our cloud services, right? My project, create a project ID. And again, there's a couple ways I can do this. I could say go to our operate dashboard, which is operate.dashboard.unity3d.com, and then say like create a new project here and give it a name or whatever. Or I can do this all through the editor. So I can come over here to my services window, which I access by just clicking this cloud, and I could say, you know what, I just want to create a project ID right here. And so I can select one of my various organizations. You can see I'm in quite a few of them. My special demo one is my delete this organization, which is just all my throwaway stuff. And I can say, you know what, create. Or if I've done this, if I've used analytics or any of the other services, I could always just say I already have a project ID and hook it up that way. But I'm just going to go ahead and hit create. It's going to ask me a little bit about my game in some of these settings here, which I can set in like age designation. Am I targeting children under the age of 13, which has different laws about what data we can collect and whatever, but I'm not doing any of that stuff. So I'm just going to leave this as is. And so at this point, you could see this the 7th specific time I've used this one project to do this. So this is my Angry Assets number 7. And I can now just click Go to Dashboard here, which is going to take me back to the Operate dashboard for this project. So just a few different ways that I can link up a project ID or whatever. And then I have it here, and I can see ads information and stuff like that. So one thing I want to do while I'm in here is I can just go to ads. And it's going to ask me if I want to use this dashboard for ads. Do I currently have Google Play or Apple Play Store IDs, which I don't. I'm not targeting kids, so I'm just going to hit Enable Ads. And obviously, I have no data yet. I haven't collected any ad revenue yet or whatever. But I can see I now have this ad ID, and I can look at monetization placements and whatever. What I really care about is just these game IDs, which are going to be how I'm going to hook my ad project up to this. And I can see I have these things called placements, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. Now that I've done that, so in Unity now, I've added the SDK, I've created a project that I want, advertisements and that sort of thing. Now I'm ready to start. So the way this game works, it's a game where I'm going to be able to run around and shoot at some enemies, and they'll chase me and whatever. It's a fairly simplistic game, you know, just whatever, shooting, whatever. So I'm going to add ads to this. So I've created a game object here called Ads Manager. Let me remove that there. Ads Manager, and I'm going to open up this script. And there's nothing really special in here right now. It's just, you know, a script to give me something to start. I've got something commented out we'll talk about later. So I have this start method. I have this show ad method. There's nothing in it. We'll talk about that later. But basically, I want to just initialize and show an ad, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to type advertisement dot initialize, saying I want to initialize my ads. And it's going to ask for a game ID. And that's the reason I went into that dashboard and I copied that ID. I wanted to grab that. The other thing I can specify, I don't have to, is whether or not this is in test mode, right? Now, obviously, I want to say, yes, this is test mode. I'm not ready to start seeing like real paid ads because I'm in development or whatever. And then when I'm ready to actually ship, then I would say that I'm no longer in test mode and I'd start seeing real ads and start monetizing and whatnot. But I'm going to say test mode. Now, the other line of code I need is then simply advertisement.show. Now, I do want to warn you that this code is the only code I need to actually show an ad. However, set up like this will not actually work. The reason for that is initializing the ads takes a moment, right? And then I can show an ad. So if I call one and then the other one, it hasn't actually initialized yet. So while I only actually need those two lines of code, I could make it on a button click or whatever. If I do put them both together right and start, obviously it's too fast. It hasn't had a chance to actually initialize or whatever. So I'm going to cheat. I'm just going to set this start method up as if it was a coroutine, if anyone knows what coroutines are. And I'll just say while advertisement, or while not, advertisement, is ready. So while we're waiting for this to be ready, I'm just going to yield return null. You don't actually have to do this if you have any other form of like pausing or whatever or waiting. But this is just going to say, you know what, let's just wait a frame or two until initialization finishes. Show an ad. Now, let's go back to Unity and see what that actually does. So I have my ads manager here on a game object, and I'm going to hit play. And there we go. This screen would be your ad unit. Now, if I were to build this to, say, an Android or iOS device, I'd see a cooler screen that is still my test ad. And at this point, with this code, if I were to set test mode to false and build this to a device, I'd see a real, actual ad. Now, at that point, I probably don't want to set up like a whole bunch of machines in my basement just showing these ads. I think that's fraud. I think they frown upon that. But, I mean, I could and get banned pretty quickly. One thing I can see here too, just in the test mode, I have this close button here to say I close the ad, or skip to simulate a person skipping your advertisement, either way. That doesn't really matter right here, but it could, and it will. And that's just really it, like just real 2 lines of code to see an ad, a little bit more to get your timing right, but really just, it's very, very simple. Now, that being said, with this, you know, that's just a basic ad, but we want to do more with this, right? A big part of using advertisements is not necessarily to punish your players with ads, right? It's to reward players and have players choose your ads, right? Choose to view an ad in order to get something we call a rewarded ad, all right? And that's something we want to set up. Now, if you recall, when I hopped over here to the dashboard, you saw that I had these 2 things here which I call placements. All right, these are default, these are built in, right? When I don't specify any sort of placement, or which is how we define how ads are served up, we can do analytics against them and all sorts of cool stuff like that. We just see this video, which is a skippable ad, whatever. But I also have this placement called rewarded video ad, which allows me to specifically say, hey, this is not a skippable ad, this is like an opt-in ad, and I'm going to give them something as a result of viewing this ad. And so now what I want to do is I want to show a rewarded ad. So I'm going to come back to my code here. And that's why I had this thing commented out. So I just created this string placement rewarded video, which is that placement we just saw. And I'm going to come here and just say, hey, advertisement.show this placement, which is a string, which is rewarded with video. So show a rewarded video instead of just this generic whatever. I can also say, hey, advertisement is ready, and then that same placement to say, make sure a rewarded video is ready, and then show a rewarded video. And I'll come back to Unity here. And I'll hit play. And now I still see an ad. There's my close to simulate finishing viewing an ad, but there's no skip anymore, right? Because that placement is a rewarded video, doesn't allow skipping. Now that being said, hitting your players with an unskippable ad at the very start of your game may not be the best retention strategy, right? Like I'd said before, rewarded ads in most advertisement strategies should be an opt-in, right? You want to choose to watch the ad to get something, and then maybe you'll actually be open to watching the ad and things like that, and clicking and doing all these really cool things that help make money. So let's set that up. Let's make it so we can reward our players, and then we're going to make it so that players can, choose in their game loop how they want to do this. So I'm going to come back to my code here, and the first thing I want to do is I want to set up how do we know that the player finished watching the ad, and how do we reward them? Well, there's something new we've added here. So there's an interface called Unity Ads Listener. All right, and it's going to freak out and say, hey, you haven't done this yet. So I'm just going to use Visual Studio's quick tools here to say, implement that for me. And it's going to add these methods. So, hey, on Unity Ads ready, on Unity Ads did error, on Unity Ads did start, and on Unity Ads did finish. And Visual Studio by default likes to throw exceptions, so errors in my code specifically to force me to do something with these. So I'm just going to remove all that. And now what I want to do is I'm going to say, OK, what do I want to do if an ad finishes? So I'm just going to kind of hide these down a little bit. And I'm going to focus right here on Unity Ads did finish. And it's going to say, hey, this was the placement that just finished, and this was the result. Cool. So I could say something like if show result equals show result dot finished. And I'll add something here in a second, but for now, I'll say yay. All right, and then else if, say, show result equals show result dot skipped or failed, if they find some way to not finish viewing it, if they close the app down or there's an error or whatever. Boo. All right, not book. No, boo. There we go. So either they finished it and that was great, we can give them a reward, or something else happened, they closed the app or they canceled it or they errored it out or some other thing, then we can do something else as a result. And so now we have the ability to say, OK, well now if I finish watching this ad fully, I can get a reward, all right? I could even just say print, I'll print yay, so we get to see it in the editor, like that. All right, so I'll come back to Unity, and let's try this again. And I'll hit play. And there's my ad unit. I hit close. And I didn't see my output. Ah, right. I always do this every time. There's one more caveat, and I always promise myself I'm not going to forget. So this is an Unity Ads Listener, which gives me these ads callback. But what I need to say is I need to say at the top, and I'll zoom in here, advertisement dot ad listener this. I need to tell advertisements that, hey, you need to let me know when an ad has been viewed. So there we go. Now I'll run this again. And I'll hit close, and then we can see, yay, all right. There was my one moment of panic. We're good now. Cool. So let's actually, again, not show this right when we start up. So I'm going to come back here. And I've had this method here called show ad, the public void. It's done nothing. So I'm going to grab this advertisements.show. I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to paste it right there. I'm going to come back up here, and I'm going to get rid of this stuff. I'm going to set this back to void. So what's going to happen is on start, we're going to add this listener. We're going to initialize. And then when someone clicks a button, we're going to say, hey, show an advertisement now. So when they click that button. And down here, I'm going to take it one step further. I'm not just going to print something out. I'm going to say, so I have this other thing in my game. It has nothing to do with ads. It's just how I'm handling inventory. I'm going to say inventory manager. All right. And then inside here, I'm going to say inventory manager number of shields plus plus. So we're going to say, you know what? If you watch an ad, I'll give you a free shield. Cool. Fantastic. Back in Unity, I'm going to go into my game here a bit. I've got a game over panel, which I have a button on called an add button. It's just a normal UI button, nothing special about it. But what it does do is it says, hey, ad manager, when I click this button, show an ad, play me a rewarded video. And I can change the types of placements. I'll show you how to create new placements and stuff here momentarily. So, okay, rewarded ad. So I'll hit play. And I'll play my game, and I can shoot at bad guys, but if a bad guy kills me, oh no, I'm dead, whatever. I could play again, or I could watch an ad for a free shield. All right, I'll do that. Here's my ad. Now when I close, I can see I now have a shield. Fantastic. So now if I play again, and am equally terrible at this game, I now have a shield, take that bad guy, and then I can just die again or whatever, and watch an ad or whatever, right? And I could do things like only show this button if the ad is ready, advertisement.id is ready or whatever, so I'm not trying to serve up ads I don't have and things like that. But for the most part, it's really that simple. You want an ad? Here's an ad. Did you watch it? Cool. Here's something, some coins or some double your score or whatever. We find that if people opt into watching the ad, yeah, I'll watch an ad for a shield, then they generally actually watch the ad. Right? And then that's how I discover a lot of games that I play is I'll watch the ad and just be like, oh, that actually looked kind of cool. All right, I'll try it out, whatever. Right? If you force them to watch an ad, what are they going to do? They're going to put their phone down and walk away, go make a sandwich, whatever, this stupid game, you know. So making it part of the process is cool. Now, one new type of advertisement we have is banners. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my Operate dashboard here, and I'm going to go ahead and add a new placement. So we've had these default ones. I'm going to add a new one, which I'm just going to call banner because I'm not very creative. And I'm going to say this is a banner placement, and I'm going to create that placement. And there we go. And it's enabled, and it has a name and whatever, and we're all good. Cool. I can click best practices if I want to see that. Cool. And now, I'm going to go back to my ads manager here, and I have this other script. I'm going to open it up in a second called banner ads. And I'm going to open this bad boy up. Now, in banner ads, I probably should actually copy the real ID of this particular game. So maybe shouldn't serialize that in the future, but whatever. And here's my placement name. I named it banner in the dashboard, so I'm just going to call it banner here. Yes, I'm in test mode. And what we have here right now is just this initialize, just like we had in the code before, and this same coroutine loop, whatever, because I'm just going to show you how we're going to show a banner. So after our advertisement is ready to show a banner, doing so is actually easy. That's a slightly different API, but again, I'm going to say advertisement. Now, instead of show, I'm going to say advertisement.banner, because banners are a special type of ad, .show, right there. And again, I'm going to place my placement ID, which is banner, which I have saved in a variable like that. And so now, when I run this game, not only am I going to be able to see ads like normal, whatever, but I am going to hopefully do something right. Item with the same name has already been added. Whoops, what'd I do? Banner, did I paste the right ID in? Test mode, game ID, placement ID, placement ID. You know what, I'm going to take the guesswork out of this and cheat. There we go. And just to avoid any nonsense, real quick. Cool. It might also be that my lack of internet is not so great, or my internet is not so great. Cool. So I'm not seeing the banner. I do apologize for that. You need an internet connection, and this conference internet is in and out, so it hasn't recognized that I've added a new placement yet. Otherwise, we'd be seeing it. I will go ahead and just keep showing you some stuff about banner ads with the hopes that it refreshes while I'm talking about it and we start seeing it, because they are very cool. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back to my code. All right, and so one of the things that you would have seen, we can all use our imagination, is you would have seen your banner ad would be here at the bottom of my screen, right? And by default, these are in the bottom center of my screen. And what I want to do, what I'd like to have the ability to do, is to place these banner advertisements in other spots, right? And I can certainly do that. And so doing so is actually fairly simple. So I can say advertisement dot banner dot set position. And here I can say banner position dot, and I can say bottom center, which is the default, bottom left, bottom right, right in the middle of my screen, which I don't know why you do that, but you can, sure, it's right in the middle of the screen. Top center, top left, top right, whatever. So I'm gonna say, maybe for my game, I want my banner ad to be the top center or the top right or whatever. And so I have the ability to set it just like that. Now I'm gonna come back here, I'm gonna let this compile. I'm going to hope maybe it was able to pull that change update. And it did not, so apologies. We have it enabled, right? We do. All right, well, that's a really sad way to end this, but that's the reality of presenting at conferences with Wi-Fi. On device, it's a little bit more streamlined. We generally don't have these problems, so I do apologize for that. So at any rate, we would see it near the top. So something's coming too. We're actually pushing out a new banner API to allow us to do a lot of other cool things like callbacks. If a banner's closed, or the ability to, say, refresh a banner. So if a banner is being shown for, like, say, 30 seconds, to switch to a new banner. And a lot of really cool banner stuff is on its way in the future SDKs that will be out here fairly shortly. And so definitely keep an eye out for that. And again, if you do pull the Ads SDK through the package manager, then you'll just be able to see when those updates are available and be able to click, yes, show me that. All right, so I am just about at time. I'm going to go ahead and pop this back up. And thank you for your time. If you have any questions about this, you can always go to unity.com/growth to learn all about monetization in your games and advertising your games and all that cool stuff. My name is Mike Geig. If you want to reach me on Twitter, it is @Mike Geig. If you have any questions, great. Otherwise, thank you all very much for spending your time with me.